Hello friends, the common problem for any new researcher is to understand how to carry out the literature review. As a student of research, this has been a problem for me as well, and there are various resources which are available in the literature itself which can be used for understanding how to carry out the literature review. So three papers that have a substantial information about how the literature review should be carried out is Cooper 1988. Cooper in 1988 has published a paper in which he has categorized that what are the various ideas for which the literature review is carried out and what are the typical aspects that must be kept in the mind while carrying out the literature review. Apart from this, other work is by Webster and Watson 2002 and Wormbrook in 2009. So in this particular video, I will be talking about the various definitions that Cooper has given for carrying out the literature review. So first of all, he defines that what is a literature review, and he has included several definitions of literature review by various which have been given from time to time by different organizations which are involved in research. So the first definition that he talks about is that literature review is a survey of materials that are published on a topic. So it says that we have to survey the already available literature that is related to the topic under study. However, more detail is required in this definition. This is a very general definition. So again, this definition has been refined and it says that the information analysis and synthesis focusing on findings and not simply the bibliographic citations. We just don't need to cite something and just don't need to mention what has been done, but we have to evaluate it, we have to analyze it, and we have to synthesize with other works of the similar area. So, and we have to summarize whatever has been done. So that is another definition that was given. And then yet another definition that has been given is that to develop a integrative theoretical statement. So we have to integrate the works or synthesize the works of different authors that have been published, and then we have to develop a theoretical statement which makes the concept more clear when the reader will eventually read the research paper. So there are two elements in the definition. First is that we have to include a report of all the primary work that has been done. Now this work has to be published. We cannot review something that has not been published as yet or which is still in a verbal stage. However, work in progress can be included, but only theoretical concepts or something that has just been begun and it has not been published, that cannot be included in the paper. So the work has to be, we have to review something that has already been published. And the second thing is we have to either describe or summarize or evaluate or clarify or integrate the content of the publications. So literature review is inductive in nature, and the quality of quality is made explicit, and the literature review is more of a hypothetical deduction. You have to draw conclusions from what has been reported. You have to analyze and compare the different works. So keeping in mind all the definitions that we have just gone through, Cooper has developed characteristics of review, and he has included 6 characteristics for the review, and I will be listing those 6 characteristics here. So this is a snapshot from the Cooper's paper, and this is a snapshot from the Cooper's paper. And in this you can see that there are 6 characteristics that a literature review should have. The first is focus, then goal, perspective, coverage, organization, and audience. Now in this also, focus is what is the focus of the literature review? What is the idea which is central to the reviewer? And in this, either the research outcome and comparison of different outcomes, different research that has been carried out at different places. Then his focus can be on the research methodologies which have been used to carry out that research. Then the focus can be on the theories and practices, or the focus can be on the application. So either we are interested in the research outcomes or the research methodologies or the theories or the practices. So any research paper which compares or presents the research outcomes of different research or the methodologies or the theory development, or which discusses the applications, and that is the focus of the research paper, it is considered a good research paper for review. Then next is the goal, that is what is the goal that the paper is seeking to solve. So goal can be to integrate and synthesize the past literature, in which you aim to study the work of different researchers and then develop a generalized argument or generalized theory out of all those works. Then another point could be resolving the conflicts between the different theories which have been presented. So in this you present what all theories exist and how they are related or unrelated, and how you can develop a bridge between them. That is the third goal that can be there in the mind of the reviewer. Then apart from this, criticizing the existing work and identifying the central issues or the gaps between the literature, that can also be the goal of a reviewer. Then we have the next perspective, which is the next characteristic of a literature review. In the perspective, there are two things. Either you have a neutral representation in which you present both the for and the against cases, or it is a espousal of position. In espousal of position, you ignore the literature or limit your focus on certain theories and certain works, and you go into the greater detail and you kind of advocate a certain kind of a work that you think is better than the others. So in perspective, either you can be neutral or you can be advocating a particular theory or a particular work. Then the next points that are covered, the next characteristic is coverage. That how much literature you have to study in order to write a review. So in this it can be exhaustive, in which you read a lot of literature and you include all that literature and report all that literature in your review paper. Then there is a exhaustive review with selective citation. You review a lot of papers, but you don't cite everything that you read. So that is another thing that can be there. Then there is a representative coverage. Representative coverage means you classify the various papers that you have read according to their methodology or according to some kind of a group that you can identify, and then you include certain instances from the literature. So you identify the groups based on the exhaustive survey that you have carried out, and then you, in those groups, you cite a few works. Then we have the central or the pivotal coverage. That means only the central theories are considered and only work related to them are presented. That means a particular group has been selected and work related to only that particular topic is presented in the review paper. Then next is the organization. How do you organize your review paper? Either it can be historically or it can be conceptually, that is work related to a same abstract area is grouped, or it can be methodologically, that is you group the similar methods that have been applied. So either you group on basis of the idea, or you group on the basis of the methodology, or it is a chronological presentation. And lastly, the review is based on the who is going to read your review. Whether it is for the specialized scholars, then you have to be clear about the various jargons, and it has to be in greater detail. Then for general scholars, then it is going to be again less jargon but more detail has to be there. Then for practitioners and policy makers, then the attention will be completely different. And if it is for general public, the paper has to be very simple, and you have to include the implication of a particular theory. So these are the 6 points which Cooper has mentioned in his paper, and he points out that how, based on these 6 points, the literature review should be carried out. And Cooper has also included instances or references of papers, and he has evaluated several papers which have won awards at various levels, and he found all these elements are present in those papers. So it is a very good research, and any new research scholar or anybody who is interested in carrying out a research should read this paper. And I hope this video is useful to you. If you like this video, please share it with your friends who are struggling with the literature review, and thank you very much.